to the conversation and discussion segments where we're going to be having a guest right here in the studio. Well, thank you for staying. Thank you for sticking with us. I'm still Lilian Ogazi. Now, we're still talking about the ASUU strike, and I said we'll be doubling back on the conversation. Like we said earlier, ASUU has given the federal government a 14-day ultimatum to address unresolved issues dating back to 2009. ASUU's President Emmanuel Osodeke stressed the demand for the conclusion of the 2009 federal government ASUU agreement based on the 2021 NIMI BRICS Committee drafts. The union also demands the release of the salaries withheld due to the 2022 strike action, expressing frustration with the government delays and warning of a worsening crisis in the public university system. Now we have joining us via Zoom Dr. Jibrin Elmaude. He's the ASUU chairman, Modibbo, Adama University, Yola State. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Jibrin.
Good morning. Thank you for having me this morning.
You're welcome to Daybreak show.
Thank you. Good morning.
We're going to be talking about this whole ASUU and federal government back and forth. Now, you are the ASUU chairman at the Modibbo Adama University in Yola State. Now, the federal government has made promises regarding the implementation of the 2009 federal government ASUU agreement. But from your position as the ASUU chairman at MAU, do you feel these promises have been sincerely addressed?
Thank you very much. Good morning, Nigerians. It is from the bottom of my heart. The federal government has food dragged. The federal government has reneged from 2009 to date. They have not sincerely implemented all the agreements signed in 2009. Let Nigeria understand. From 2009 to date, we are engaging government physically and even spiritually for them to do the needful. Nigerians should understand the reason why we're embarking on this strike is simply because the critical stakeholders in university education, the parents, the university administration, as well as the students, fail to discharge their responsibilities. If it were before, in the late 60s, in the early 60s, 70s, where Nigerian nuns, the students would be fighting the government to do the needful. Government will do that. The parents should be fighting government so that government to do that. Government is not that. It is now we look at it as now our responsibility to ensure that we're engaging government to make sure the government is deciding these responsibilities. And what are those things that are in contention between us and federal government? It's not much. The first thing is about the revitalization of our universities. University is an entity that is supposed to be the same universally, meaning what is obtainable in Oxford, in Cambridge, and all other universities should be obtained in the Nigerian universities. Unfortunately, the case is the reverse. Our students, you need to go and see where they sleep in their hostels. You need to see where they have lectures. Some of them will sit on the floor. Some of them will sit on stones. We're saying government should provide equipment. There should be good theaters. There should be functional library. These things are not there. Is it a crime for us to say government should do that? Or do Nigerians want us to be like people in other sectors where we don't give a damn whether there are classes, whether there are equipments, whether their laboratories are working or not? Is that what Nigeria wants us to do? So I think if Nigerians will not support us, we should not be castigating us for engaging government to do needful. For instance, it was agreed in 2014 during Jonathan's time. Jonathan on his own sat down and he now selected some respectable Nigerians, assigned them to go around Nigerian universities. As at that time, I'm talking about 2014, 2015, they came back, they look at the minimum amount needed to revitalize our universities to make them functional. As at that time, is 1.3 trillion. As at that time, now you can even compare what 1.3 trillion can buy in 2015 to 2014. Unfortunately, he gave us 220 billion. The remaining amount of money, he gave us 200 billion. The remaining assigned money was 1.1 trillion. And he promised that he's going to pay it in 5 installments. Unfortunately, couldn't make it to the next administration. Then I think we are expecting that the next government, that is Buhari government, will now continue for one step. Unfortunately, they do that. That's number one. Number two, our condition of service. In the 2009 agreement, it is clearly stated that after every 4 years, we are going to review that. As I speak to you now, from that 2009, our salaries has not been reviewed. Apart from the recent 25-35%, the government on their own decided to add what we normally do, whatever we want to do is through collective bargaining. And why are they for dragging in the implementation of the Nimi Briggs committee report? We sat down with them before Nimi Briggs. There was Professor Jibrin committee. We sat down together with them. Resources were wasted. Government said they would not accept that. Then I came up with another committee. That is the Professor Jibrin committee, the Professor Nimi Briggs. We also look at it critically for government to accept this thing, sign this thing, and let us conclude it and go ahead. Government is not doing that. Right. Government is always forcing us to go on strike.
All right.
If we go on this strike, it is expected that when we resume, we should sit down together with them. What are the costs of this thing? Why do you go on strike? And Nigerians should know, before we go on strike, we have to meet with government formally and informally. We have to go through influential Nigerians, traditional leaders, religious leaders, so that they intervene. All of them will intervene. The government will listen. Nigerians should know the government lack the political will. Simply because, excuse me, ma'am, simply because majority of them, their children awards are not in Nigerian universities. That's why they're not taking us.
Dr. Jibrin, just hold on now. Let's get back to this conversation. You know, I love that you've mentioned all the points necessary, talking about the revitalization of Nigerian public universities. We know that the government also have their own, other responsibilities to carry out. But in your thoughts, based on what you've seen and based on the renegotiation and the back and forth, what would you say have been the biggest barriers to this progress? Like you said, each administration came, Jonathan administration came and gave a certain amount, but failure to continue was one of the things that hindered. So at this point, what has been the biggest hindrance to this progress, and what necessary national strategies do you think the government needs to put in place at this time that should resolve this issue?
It's very simple. Lack of political will from the side of the government. I don't want to believe that we don't have enough resources in this country to fund university education. I truly agree. Other sectors are very, very important. All the sectors are important. However, education sector is on the top, because you are not going to get a good doctor, you are not going to get a good security. Even you that are sitting there, it's because you are well educated. That's why you are sitting there and making good presentation. Meaning, once you decided not to make your universities to work effectively and efficiently, you are not going to have it the way you are supposed to have it. There's no country in this country, there's no country in this world that is beyond its own educational level. Your educational level determines your level of growth and development. So the major hindrance between us and federal government is the lack of political will from the side of government to implement sincerely, to do it with absolute honesty in deciding the responsibility. If the government is honest, let's assume they say they are going to give us maybe 200 billion, and they realize that during the quarter there was no money, then they should call us and say, we promise to give you this amount of money, but because of economic turmoil, because of this challenge, we cannot give you that amount of money. This is the money we can afford. We can collect that money and come and explain to our members. But for them to keep mute, not to be saying anything, the only time you see them talking is when they realize that we say we are going to go on strike. Before this 14 days given to them now, we gave them 21 days. What have they done? If they are honest, we have given them 21 days. In this 21 days, we had meeting with them, but it has not produced any good result. All the meetings were to no avail. To the extent that our members are even insulting us. Our members are not even trusting us any longer, thinking that we are studying the government at the expense. The government should do the next one. That's why we're giving them 14 days. If the government is honest, within the 14 days, we should have good something so that at least the strike can be averted.
All right, now let's talk about the students now. Many Nigerians and even the students, they all know that this frequent ASUU strike hurts the students. It hampers career development, it hampers education on the part of the students. So at this point, how would you justify the strike actions? especially with the fact that you know you lecturers, you say you have you people have the interest, the best interest of students, and yes, you're clamoring for revitalization of Nigerian universities, which is to the best interest of students, but they have gone on long strikes that keep students at home. Most of them don't even want to come back to school. So at this point, what would you say with this upcoming one? How would you think it's going to affect the students? I mean, are the students not put into consideration at this point in time?
To me, it's meaningless for somebody to say he wants to just finish the university and go with an empty hand. It is expected that as a Nigerian student, you can favorably compete with any other student globally. But the case is not like that. We have had institution whereby university, a student will graduate from university. For him to write his name is very difficult for him. So it's not about graduating. You are graduating with what in your head. That's our concern. And for somebody to say we don't have the love of our students, I think it's not correct. If you are going to engage government, we have engaged the government, and government gave, during Jonathan time, it gave 200 billion naira. And that 200 billion naira, they are not giving ASUU. They are giving university administration to build more hostel, to buy equipment in the laboratory. What we are saying that we don't like a situation whereby the product we are producing, that is our student, to graduate without having the minimum thing they're supposed to get from universities. So it's not wrong for us to say, okay, now please, let us close this university until when this government is serious. So that at least whatever product you are producing in university, you can be proud of them. So now let the student be honest. I was listening to the program before this one, the segment before this one, the analysis made by some people. I love that statement. Some of the blame are on us. Some of the blame is on the government. Our blame is, for instance, truly, there are 1 or 2, 3 people that may not go to school, but you cannot conclude that all of us do not go to class. Some of us create extra time for our students. Some of us at the weekend, some of us during our leisure time, we listen to our students. They are here, they listen to us.
Okay, so there's some of us.
But if government does not provide adequate facilities, where we the needed universities, there's no way you can go. For instance,
I'm glad you listened to the segment before this where someone said that, you know, some lecturers don't go to classes, some lecturers don't even update their notes to the current standard. So at this point in time, what is being done to hold those ones accountable? Because when the issues of ASUU strike comes up, Nigerians tend to point the blame and put it across board. So, you know, they want the lecturers to do their own homework before they press the neck of the government. So what is being done by the union to hold these lecturers accountable so that when you're pressing the government's neck, they will know that, okay, the lecturers are flawless and are free of blame?
Let us be honest on this matter. How can you put pressure on a particular lecturer when he's battling and he's fighting with what to eat? When you are giving a professor at bar less than 400,000 naira a month, whereas his colleagues in other African countries are getting 2 million naira, 1.5 million naira per month. And somebody who is not in stable mind, how would you expect a professor that is battling with drugs, that is battling with what to eat, to sit down and make a critical analysis of bringing new innovations? How would that be possible? How would that be possible? As a person, I was better off when I was a graduate assistant. I was better off when I was lecturer 1 and lecturer 2. As an associate professor of accounting, I find it very difficult to produce new letters, new notes for my students. When I was comparing the notes I was giving my students when I was assistant lecturer and lecturer 2, the example I gave them, 5 examples per topic, 6 examples. Now, because of tension, because of this and that, the economy, in fact, majority of people cannot go to school. There was a time I know in my university, Yola, lecturers will come to universities even if they do not have anything to do. Even if they don't have lectures, there's not going to be any meeting, we'll come, we discuss issues. But today, people will put the whole lectures in a particular day. And apart from that, they will not come to university until next week because they don't have the money to transport themselves from their homes to the universities. There are no available quotas for you to say you are going to send the quotas. There's no money for, look at what is the cost of fuel. I'm saying that I was better off so many 10 years ago than now. It's expected that now I should be better off as an associate professor than when I was in those days. So it's unfortunate. If we should not be seeing that there's no way you can force somebody to go and do something where the resources are not there.
All right.
As at that time, what is the equivalent value of naira to dollar, and what is it today? When they give you a salary today, if you go to the market, the salary cannot sustain you for 1 week. In that agreement, in the 2021 of New Agreement, they say professors should be given 1.5, 1.6. Up to now, professors are receiving 400, 500. How? What do you think a professor can 400,000 naira for him to go and buy textbooks, current textbook, sit down, look at these textbooks, and become a lecture student? Is it going to be possible? But by the time you give them enough resources, by the time you pay them good salaries that can be fit their status, then you cannot begin to challenge them. We are giving you enough money. You are not teaching our students. You are giving them peanuts. Professor in Nigeria is like a slave. Peanuts. He cannot mentor. He needs to be mentored financially. So government should do something. Actually, they want our university to function. Let me tell you one important thing I want Nigerians to understand. It's very, very important.
Yes,
there's no one university in this world that you will go. No one university in this world that you go that you don't see one Nigerian that is excelling. That university is proud of him. And most of them, they were in Nigerian universities because of the insensitivity nature of the government in Nigeria. That was why all of them ran away. You mentioned that they ran away. They are still running away. They'll continue to run away.
We'll get to that.
And the people that have that experience, you are allowing them to go away because of political will. And that is not good for our nation.
Shortly, Dr. Jibrin. But let us come back to the line of conversation. You said that, the lecturers have the love of the students in their hearts. So the union, are they looking forward to exploring other options at putting pressure on the government besides going on strike actions that wouldn't affect the students?
Yes. Yes. We gave government 21 days. Ordinarily, it would have been strike where we should be happy. We should have supposed to be on strike now, but we didn't go on strike. It's because of the love. It's because of the law. We have given government 21 days. In these 21 days, the government did not do anything. That's why we are giving them extra 14 days. They are honest. They should be sincere. That this money you are looking for is not available, but this is what we can afford. How can you promote somebody and you're still not paying him his promotion arrears? How can you withhold somebody's salary for years? How can you do so many things that will make sure that the lecturer is being in a devastating condition and situation? We love Nigerian students, and they know that. Some of them, we are the ones who are paying their school fees. They are not our children. They are our children, but we are paying their school fees. So if we don't love them, we will not extra money paying the school fees. Some of us were not being paid salaries, but still we go to class. During our strike, there was no classes. But when we resumed classes, all those weeks, all those months that we lost, we have covered all of them. There's no one university that skipped any semester or skipped any session. All of us maintained, suffered ourselves, worked hardly to ensure that we have covered what we have covered, and we are now in the new session. So government should know, if we do not love our students, we will not be doing this thing. We will not go extra mile in ensuring that we have given our students what we are giving them.
All right. Now, you spoke about brain drain, which is very interesting. You spoke about how we've had good talent, both teachers and students, leave Nigeria because they are no longer, they can't take it anymore. The back and forth with the government, the incessant strike, salaries being owed at this point in time. So what do you think can be done, to help retain these people while these negotiations are going on, so we don't lose our best talent, especially with students and even with lecturers who have the best to offer? Beyond this whole ASUU and federal government back and forth, how can a common ground be found in the long run, so that we see that
it's very simple. The Nimi Briggs report is in the government. They should ask us to conclude discussion on that, sign that, and begin to implement that. That will go a long way in ensuring that we don't have strike. And to my utmost dismay, during the inaugural speech of our President Tinubu, he made it clearly. There's not going to be a strike in our university any longer. We thought he is going to match action with the words, but unfortunately, it's like he has going to sleep again. He should wake up from the slumber and implement all the things that we have signed with them. And again, the salary that we are being owed, we should be paid. Our promotion arrears, they should give us. And another illegal thing that they are doing through the Office of Accountant General is our third-party deductions, which is part of our salaries that we have given them the right to remove and pay cooperatives and check-up dues. It's still with them. What are they doing with them with the money? If you are not giving our cooperative society, if you're not giving our union the money you deducted from our salary, return back the salaries for our members. These are the things that they are doing to us. If they can address these issues, there's nobody want to go on strike. Nigerians strike is always the last resort. And the reason why it's our last resort, that's the only time that people like you are going to invite us. Nigerians will know. People will know that ASUU is going to go on strike. But before we go on strike, there are so many things we do behind the scene that we don't want people to know. Informal, as I said, formal meetings, informal meetings, visitation, meeting influential Nigerians to talk to government, unfortunately. What will be disturbing you is people that want to help you before the John government. Once the John government, their tune will change. The way they dance will change. Let us be honest for once. Let us be sincere for once. Let us address these issues. We know the issues. It's not a new issue. It's the issue that we have been pursuing from 2009 to date.
All right.
If government is on it, how will you be for dragging from 2009 on one issue, the same issue? We're not bringing any new issue. It's about our tradition. It's about our condition of service. These are the critical issues. We're not, since 2009, we're not bringing any new issue to anybody. These are the issues we're bringing. And it's not hard for government to resolve because we have enough money in this country.
All right, let's talk about the enough money aspect. Now, the government have cited budgetary issues when it comes to addressing ASUU's needs and, allocation and budgetary issues. What's your thought on that? Do you think the government has the financial ability to truly, elevate Nigerian universities to the standard and make it compete with other international standards?
Can you remember the amount of money used in renovating the Vice President House?
Yeah.
It's about 21 billion.
Yes.
That 21 billion for renovating a place where somebody is going to sleep. Renovating where somebody is going to sleep, you spend 221 billion naira. What about the yacht bought by Mr. President? What about the new presidential jet that bought president? If there's no money, would they be buying that? Would they be buying that? How much money has been budgeted for the purchase of newspapers, for the purchase of food in the presidential lodge and outer villa? It's an indication that we have money. And for you to know the government is not sincere, the UNESCO declaration, the benchmark of 21% of budget allocation to the university, to the education system, is that being implemented in Nigeria? Nigeria is not implemented. They will give us 3%, 4%, 5%, indication that education is not their priority. How will you be giving 7%, 8% to education? And this 10% you are giving, you are not giving only universities. You are giving both primary, secondary school, and the tertiary institutions 10% of education. And you want us to give you new notes. You want us to go extra mile in creating and innovating new ideas that will forge Nigeria ahead. Is it possible? It's not possible. There's this normal adage, better food, now money. You are not giving people money to go and buy textbooks, new textbooks. You are not even giving money, you are not even giving people enough money to buy foods to eat, let alone to have extra money to make publication, to conduct research. And we have researchers that are being utilized by United Nations. We have so many people that are working, so many lecturers, that wherever you go, the United Nations, the World Bank are proud of them because of their level of knowledge of research. There are countries that will come to Nigeria, pick our research, go implement those research, and they are better off. But in Nigeria, you just do research, they will just dump it. They will not utilize it. They will not implement it. These are talents. They all know.
Whose fault
they
is
know
that?
These things.
Because we had a caller who spoke about research being carried out and there are no proper documentations on the part of the universities. You find students' research works given to akara sellers. Sometimes you even find them piled up in a corner of the school. They are not properly documented. Whose fault is that?
You don't even blame the university management. Go to the libraries, go to our shelves, go to our libraries. They are there. Nobody's coming to look at them. They are there. Some of them being sponsored. Millions of naira. Honest research that can salvage the hardship of this country.
Yeah, but
countries who come to Nigeria, Malaysia, Indonesia, and other Asian countries, they will come here, they will pick this research, they will go and implement this research, and they will be better off. Nigeria, nobody will come, nobody care, because as far as they're concerned, if they have enough money for themselves and their children, everybody should go to hell. Let me give you an example. There's one politician in this country, for instance,
language, please, Dr.
that has private university in Abuja. Excuse me. He has private university in Abuja.
Research, Dr.
Excuse me, ma'am. I have this important. Please listen to me. Don't be please. There's a particular person who is in Abuja. I'm not mentioning anybody's name. I'm not going to mention your name. A private university in Abuja, but unfortunately, his own children graduated from UK. You have private university that you are proud of. They are making Nigerians to send their children there. But you cannot do. You cannot put your own child in that university, meaning you are not honest. What we are saying, there are times in this country where we have foreigners in a particular department, not even university. You see 6, 7 foreign lecturers teaching here. Yes. You see foreign students all over Nigerians. Yeah. Today, they are not there. Today, you look at the entire university, you don't see one foreign lecturer. You don't see foreign students, meaning because the foreigners, the other countries, realize that we are not honest. We realize that education is not priority. Unless and until all of us, the critical stakeholders, put our hand on deck and force government to do anything, we're not going to get it right.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Jibrin. You know, I wanted to chip in something, especially on the part of research. Okay, you said, you know, most people would rather pay or take their children abroad. For those who can't even afford that, accessing research work from universities kind of seems like a struggle, especially when you see this research work being thrown out because they are not being shelved or kept properly. Is the federal government to be blamed for that as well?
Of course, yes. It is the federal government. How do you want a vice chancellor to implement that? Okay. When the vice chancellor do not have enough money to pay for electricity? There are times in my university, they only give us they'll give us light from 9 a.m. In fact, from 11 a.m. to 3 a.m. That's the only time we will see light in university. Okay. The vice chancellor that is battling on how to pay to ensure that there's water in the university, there's no money for electricity. Is that the same vice chancellor I want him to go and implement? Is there a responsibility of the vice chancellor to be implementing? It's the responsibility of the government. Let us call a spade a spade. It is the responsibility of the government. Everything is on the government. If the government is honest, if the government is sincere, if the government is taking our side serious in this country, we're going to get it right. Government is not honest. Government is not sincere. Let's tell them the truth. All right. Yes, we have our own share of blame as teachers. The university management also have their own share of blame. But if government is honest, if government is taking serious measures on any defaulting lecturer or any defaulting university management, this thing will become to normalcy. Unfortunately, right. They are not honest, and that's why they cannot address issues the way they're supposed to be addressed. But once the government is sincere, once the government want the country to change, once they want us to begin to tread the path of development, we're going to get there. We have the wherewithal, we have the manpower, we have the ability, we have the capacity to do whatever that will forge Nigeria, but lack of political will from the side of the government. All right, thank you very much for talking about political will and honesty. Now, in one of the government attempts to prove or to put transparency and honesty out there, the government introduced IPPIS, and we saw how ASUU kicked against it so far. You know, IPPIS brought a lot of tension between the federal government and ASUU. Now, how do you view the government handling the issue, and what system would you think would have worked better between the IPPIS and UTAS that was going on between the federal government and ASUU? That was the government means of wanting to prove transparency, but we saw ASUU kick so hard against it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I love this question. You see, Nigerians should know. One, IPPIS is a foreign product. IPPIS is a foreign product, is owned by a particular company in America. For security reasons, we are not supposed to be using that. What I mean by security reason, the profile of all the lecturers, what they can do, and what their earnings, the entire thing, the entire database is being controlled by people in the United States of America, which is very, very bad for us. Are we saying that we don't have the capacity as Nigerians to develop our own software that can address these issues? We are being challenged by the federal government that if you think this IPPIS is bad, IPPIS is bad because of so many things. Number one, university, based on our autonomy, we are supposed to get manpower from wherever we want. For instance, the vice chancellor, if there's no a particular lecturer that has a particular area of specializations, the vice chancellor can get that person from wherever he is to bring it to the university so that the student can get that knowledge. IPVS will not allow that. IPS will not allow contract staff. IPS will not allow adjunct staff. So many things that is supposed to be in the university, IPS will not allow that. And the IPS is not free. We are paying huge amount of money in dollars, millions of dollars to maintain that. One, it is we're going to pay rent. We are paying rent millions of naira. You that you don't have money to pay to buy equipment in university. Why are you bringing something that you're paying dollars? If you are honest, we're being challenged by the federal government. If you think IPS is not good, bring something that is better. We brought with us, and they compare the subjective to integrity test. The subject UTAS and IPPS is the basis. IPPS was the last. UTAS defeated it in all ramifications. But unfortunately, where somebody scored 95% in the first exam, you say, yeah, no, it's not correct. You give him another exam. After giving you the second exam, you now scored 97, and you see that guy is failing. I was thinking in Nigerian education system, once you score 70, it's A. UTAS scored 95 in the first example, in the first integrity test. They said, no, we should do again. They did it for the second time. UTAS scored 97. UTAS is far better. One, it is Nigerian product. Two, it can be corrected. All the data will be in Nigeria. Three, it is like free, we are giving government. Four, it is created by us. It's far better than that one. Why won't that? And what UTAS is, what UDACO is going to do, the IPS is not doing. Because with the UTAS, it's not about the payroll alone. Even the administration and the aspect of human capital development. Just pinch a button like this in a particular university, it tell you everything about that university. For instance, if a vice chancellor say he wants to get more professors in a particular department, the NUC will just, the NUC secretary will just look at it and say how many lecturers do they have? How many professors do you have in that department? So apart from checkmating the excesses of making payment, the UTAS can also give you the list of staff in the whole Nigerian university. It's better. It's our own product. Okay. Our own product. Our members created that software. Unfortunately, the government is still frauding and say that it's not good. It's not good. They prefer paying money to foreigners because they are going to be possibly kickback after making that payment.
All right. Thank you very much for clearing that out. Well, it's been a very, very educative and insightful, eye-opening conversation with you this morning. We hope that the federal government and ASUU would find a common ground for the sake of our students. Insecurity is brewing. Unemployment is brewing. We can't have our students on the street doing nothing. That is a ticking time bomb that both ASUU and the federal government do not want. So we hope that a common ground would be found in the long run and our students would be let back to school. Thank you very much for joining us.
Well, please, before you go, can you permit me to ask one question?
It's been a good conversation here this morning.
As a Nigerian.
All right, that was Dr. Jibrin Elmaude joining us from MAU University in Yola, and we're talking about all the controversies and issues surrounding ASUU strike. We analyzed who to blame from different angles. I hope you were able to pick what you wanted from that conversation. Well, we've come to the end of the discussion segment. We'll be going on a quick break, and when we get back, we'll be looking at the stories that made it to the front pages of the newspaper. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back.